Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you are having an awesome week so far. Looking forward to a great weekend. Everyone, this is a members chat class. Of course, you're welcome to watch. We are focusing on IELTS Task 1 writing for the academic IELTS exam. The general IELTS exam is a different Task 1 writing essay. This academic Task 1 will be pie charts on the way people go to university. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live classes. They have all of our videos without advertising, with all the pieces. They have all of our interactive courses, practice exams, and lots more. For the academic IELTS, go to this website here at aehelp.com with the blue background. Click this big red button that's just above my head there to access the premium version of our course. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We are an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center for the home-based IELTS exam in several countries. You are in great hands with us. We help thousands of students every month improve their English and achieve band scores 7 and higher on their IELTS tests. For the general IELTS and for general IELTS Task 1, letter writing, writing emails, check us out at gieltshelp.com. Click this big red button here. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. Welcome, Carolina, our chat moderator. Lovely to have you with us today, helping the students in the class. Anahita, Domenico, Fuang, nice to have many of our members. Angel, great to have you here with me. Students, we do have apps for you as well. Get the app Academic IELTS Help for Academic IELTS and General IELTS Help for General IELTS. Use the code IMAGINE9 on the websites. This will not work on the apps. Apps don't like discount codes, unfortunately. Use the code IMAGINE9 for a 10% discount. For another Band 9 sample essay and for lots more sample essays, check out our blogs. This is a Task 1 sample essay on our website. It's also kind of related to vehicles and transportations, but it's a different one. It's a different pie chart. I just put that link in the chat, so you can check that out when you have a moment. For Instagram, yes, IELTS_AEhelp and GIELTShelp. We post our schedules and we put vocabulary and lots of other helpful assets for you on Instagram as well. We are world leaders when it comes to IELTS exam preparation. If you ever have questions, just send me an email. Adrian at aehelp.com or admin at aehelp.com will get you answers to your questions. Students, looking good. Task 1 right now. Followed by Task 2 writing for subscribers. That's coming up in about 2 hours. That Task 2 writing, it will be a subscribers chat class. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free. And you get lots of notifications for live classes and for materials that help you to pass the test. On Saturday, so tomorrow, we've got Speaking Part 2 for members. And then we've got Speaking Part 3 for everybody, but that will not be on YouTube. That will be on our website. We've started live streaming in the last month on the websites as well. So another reason to become a premium member so that you get access to all of those live streams in the future. You can tell where the classes are with these icons. So when you see our shield icon, that means that the live class is through the website by going to your My Student account and then joining the live class with that button that's just right above my head there. So That's where you want to be, students. So that's coming up tomorrow, the live class on the website. And we talk to our students in those classes. We actually get to interact using your microphone and speaker. Here's a video that we released recently for you to check out when you have some time. And with that administrative responsibility out of the way, we'll just jump right into our task 1 writing. Carolina is also just reminding everybody that you can purchase our premium courses through YouTube by clicking on the shopping products and then choosing the academic or general IELTS and then checking out through Shopify. If you do that, please send us an email so we can activate your account. Okay, everyone, without further ado, let's get into it. IELTS Task 1 writing. The writing section is 60 minutes total. It's 2 tasks, task 1, task 2. You can start with either one. You can start with task 2 or task 1. I strongly recommend starting with task 1. Task 1 is an expository essay. Expository essay means that you need to explain and interpret the information. This is one of the main essay formats in literature. If you're not sure what this means, step 1, when you have a bit of time in the day, Google the term expository essay. Okay, there are a lot of candidates that are not crystal clear on the different essay formats. There are 4 big ones. Persuasive, that's task 2. We'll talk about that in the next class. Expository essay, that's task 1 in the academic. There's narrative essay, which is storytelling. That's task 1 for the general. And then there's what's called descriptive writing or descriptive essays. That's kind of like the father of all. You need to use good descriptive language in all essay styles. And there's an exclusive descriptive style. The expository essay here is written in third-person voice. It's objective. That means there's no you or I. And you should try to stay away from us and we as well. Okay, students sometimes ask me that. Is it okay to write us or we? It's okay. I don't recommend doing it too much. Try to keep your reader objective. So no you, I, we, us in third person voice essays. Okay. Again, if you're not familiar, you're like, what is Adrian talking about? What's this third person voice? There are 3 voices of the author, first, second, third person. And there are lots of subcategories within that. Again, if you're not clear on what I'm talking about here, like expository essay, third person voice, what? You need to do a little bit of research on those, okay? It's very important to understand these terms for not just IELTS, but also for university and for your future career. Okay, these are topics that are taught in grade 9, 10, 11, 12 in most middle schools and high schools in many countries. Okay, all right, let's read the question. So your writing section starts after about 2 hours of the sitting exam, the IELTS. And then the examiners, the vigilators will say, okay, the reading section's finished. We'll now start the writing section. We'll give you some instructions. And then you start, and then you see the question. So you will read. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. Spend 20 minutes. Task 1 is worth 1/3 of your mark. And it also helps you to start, getting your mind and your hand into the writing skills. So it's a bit of a recipe, everybody. So task 1 is kind of like making cookies. If you know what you're doing, like with making cookies where you mix water, flour, sugar, chocolate chips, then you will do a good job, okay? As long as you pay attention to your spelling, your grammar, and following the recipe, step 1, step 2, you should be able to do quite a good job on task 1, and that will really help your brain get into task 2, which requires more thinking. It requires more analysis, let's say, interestingly. Okay, here we go. So let's read the question. The following chart shows the percentage of people commuting to a major university in Canada using several different modes of transportation in 2 years. Report the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. Keep in mind, students, that band 7, 8, 9 essays are closer to 200 words. Okay, so 150 is the minimum. The at least here means minimum. Some candidates think that that's the number that they should go for, is like exactly 150. No, you need to go for a little bit more if you can, okay? 20 minutes should be enough for that. The expected typing speed in the world today is 60 words per minute. So if you have 20 minutes to write an essay, even with 10 minutes of thinking, you should be able to write at least 200 words. There's no way that you should not be able to write 200 words in 10 minutes. Okay, so keep that in mind, everybody. Even if you spend 10 minutes thinking about your content, your English, your grammar, words, you should still easily be able to write 100 and, well, not even 100, 200 words in 10 minutes. Okay. If you're having difficulty with that, definitely focus on touch typing. Okay. If you are not able to touch type at 60 words per minute, then you need to improve your touch typing skills. Okay, all right, it's kind of a standard today. You will need that skill for university and for work as well. Okay, all right. Anahita says, I always do better in task 2 when I see huge numbers in task 1. I find it difficult in reporting data in the given time. Anahita, it's just a bit of practice. Ghazi, nice to have you back here with us. Okay, everybody, so here is the pie chart that we're looking at today, and we can see here that we've got the 2 years, 2004 and 2009. We've got the different ways of going to this university. We've got walking, the bus, the bicycle, train, and car. Okay, and then of course we've got the same types of transportation here. All right, so the task 1 for the academic has 3 parts, basically. Well, kind of 4, but 3 main parts. Okay, so 3 main parts to this essay. Most of you know this who watch these classes regularly and are doing your IELTS studies. You've got number 1, the introduction. You've got 2, the overview. And then you've got 3, the analysis. Okay, the analysis is usually including a summary at the end. Okay, like why did we look at this chart or graph? Okay, so we'll get into that. All right, the introduction. The introduction is a paraphrase of the question with added detail from the graph. Okay, now just paraphrasing the question, you're going towards a band 5-6. Okay, with the added detail from the graph, you're going towards a band 7 to 9. All right. Nice. Domenico says, currently I'm working on a series of line graphs and bar charts to analyze seasonal change and the abundance of krill in the Sea of Cortez. Nice, Domenico. So Domenico is doing marine biology. in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken, Dominico, and you're doing your master's, and clearly you are using graphs and charts. Yes, graphs and charts are a part of a lot of different majors in university, and they're very important to understand. Domenico says, I'm doing my PhD. I stand corrected, Domenico, PhD. Domenico is doing his doctorate in marine biology. That is awesome, Domenico. All right. So again, you need to add more details. So here we have the question. Let's paraphrase this. So let's paraphrase and give more detail. I'm going to do that in about a minute here. I encourage our members and our viewers, even if you're not able to join the chat, make sure to do this. So be interactive, practice with us. These classes are interactive, okay? So I'm going to write the introduction under the question here, paraphrasing it. So instead of saying the following charts, I'm going to say these two pie charts, right? It's just more specific, okay? Using details. Instead of show, I'm going to say indicate. There are lots of ways to paraphrase the word show, okay? Indicate the proportions. Even percentage can be paraphrased as proportions. Okay, so there is my paraphrase. I'm going to give you a chance to paraphrase as well, and then we'll compare. We'll look at my writing. We'll look at your writing. Okay. In the meantime, for all of our viewers, again, on the website, aehelp.com, when you do join the premium version of our course, and again, it's not a subscription model, it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. You click that big red button and you access the student account. You can go to the full online course, and in the full online course, I strongly encourage those students who have access to make sure that you're using the interactive course. You have the writing section. And in the writing section, there are some really important explanations for how the writing section works and what you need to pay attention to. One interesting aspect here that I want to highlight while you're composing your introduction are the different types of task 1 in the academic. So you can have bar graphs, line graphs, and then you can have pie charts. And it's really important to understand the difference between these different types of charts and graphs. So pie charts are not the same as line graphs. One of the most common mistakes that people make in the IELTS is they write about all the graphs as if they're looking at a line graph, like gradually increasing or rapidly decreasing. They're not the same. Line graphs show continuity. Pie charts don't. Pie charts just look at like the year. They don't show all the years or time in between. Okay, so be really careful about that. So check out the interactive course and pay attention to this useful vocabulary. So these different pieces of the pie chart, they can be referred to as a slice. They could be a piece, as I just said. You could be a portion. It could be a large or a thin portion. It could be the majority or the minority, a significant or an insignificant amount within the whole. Okay, so pay attention to that. And again, make sure to go through your interactive course when you are a premium user. Okay, it's very, very important that you do that. It's just one of the many great tools and skills that are there for you in your premium package. All right, let's take a look at what you're writing. So, yeah, and Domenico, exactly, and we'll talk about that. Domenico says, Adrian, my supervisor asked me to go beyond the data presented in the charts. I guess I know what he meant by mentioning that. I should go into more detail when writing my reports. Yeah, exactly, Domenico. So it's what I keep mentioning as well. I have done master's research in university also for developmental disorders. And I have worked with graphs and charts, and I have done presentations with graphs and charts for major conferences as well. And the idea of writing a good essay or giving a good presentation based on a chart or a graph is that you're interpreting for your audience. So you're not just reporting, okay? You don't just say the numbers, but you're interpreting, and we'll talk more about that when we get into the analysis. Okay, Anahita has this introduction for us. We'll take a look at this, Anahita, in just a moment. I'm going to actually grab the introduction now that I have it and put it underneath the pie chart here, or the pie charts. So here we go. These two pie charts indicate the proportions of students and teachers going to and from a large university in Canada by either walking, driving, taking the bus, bicycle, or train in the years 2004 and half a decade later in 2009, right? So I identified even that there's 5 years between 2004, 2009, and 5 years, said in a nice coherent way, is half a decade, right? So it's that kind of interpretation that Domenico is alluding to, right? And half a decade, if you think about it, is also roughly the time it takes to complete a bachelor's, maybe a bachelor's with a master's degree. So it's kind of like one round of students or undergraduate students. So most students that would be in this school in 2004 would graduate by 2009. So you would have a kind of a fresh student body there. So it makes sense that they have this data here. Okay. All right. Anahita says the two pie charts depict the ratio of individuals going back and forth to a great university in Canada to not a great means the quality here, large, okay, or big. University in Canada by either walking, cycling, train, or bus. Yep, and you're missing car here, Anahita. Walking, car, cycling, train, or bus in a couple of years. And I would mention the years here, okay? In the years 2004 and 2009, okay? So again, detailed data, Anahita, and you want to make sure that you're interpreting throughout, okay? All right, nice. Okay. Ghazi says, the given two pie charts illustrate the rates of commuting by three methods. Taking the bus, not getting, taking the bus, driving a car, cycling and walking in a Canadian university in 2004 and 2009. Okay, Ghazi, that's good. All right. It's not three methods. Okay, so careful about that. It's five, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for the academic IELTS, everyone, your content is important. If I catch this mistake, Ghazi, I will penalize you as a content mistake. So you have to be careful by 5 methods, right? Now, of course, I know in these live classes you don't see the charts all the time on the screen because I'm moving it up and down, so sometimes you're just taking a guess, but still you have to pay attention to that. By 5 methods: bus, driving a car, cycling and walking, and the train, right? Okay. Now, you should have parallel grammar as well, Ghazi. So bus, train, car. Okay, let's not change to a verb there. Bus, train, car, cycling, and walking. Okay, now it's accurate. Okay. Bendito, thank you for that super chat donation. If you have a question, let us know by email as well. Bendito, if you want to join the chat, you need to become a member. Okay, I think that money will buy you membership for at least 1 month. So love to have you join our group of members here. Okay. All right. Fuang has an answer for us here. Fuang says, these two given pie charts, don't say given. So students, you don't want to be wordy unnecessarily. These two pie charts, nobody's giving it. At the end of the day, it's just there. So it's okay to use given, but it's unnecessary. In university, your professor would cross that word out and say it's an unnecessary word. Okay, so these two pie charts indicate the proportion of both professors and students in a major university in Canada. Indulge is a bit awkward here, Fuang. It's not quite the right word. Using it's 5 here. 5 types of transportation: taking a bus, driving a car, riding a bike, and walking on foot. Which one's missing? Taking a bus, driving a car, riding a bike, or a train. Right? Because we ride the train, we ride the bike, so it's a nice use of the verb ride for both of those. And walking on foot in 2 years, 2004 and 2009. Now it's correct, Fuang. Now you have the correct sentence here. Okay. All right. So these two pie graphs indicate the proportion of both professors and students in a major university in Canada. If we want to be a little bit more comprehensive, instead of professors, we could say faculty. Okay, and that's a nice word. Faculty basically includes all of the staff that work at the university. All right, so it's a good word to know, especially if you're going to university. Okay, so these two pie graphs indicate the proportion of both faculty and students in a major university in Canada using 5 types of transportation: taking a bus, driving a car, riding a bike or a train, and walking on foot in 2 years. 2004 and 2009. Ghazi, that's so kind of you. Ghazi's like, I'll match that. Thanks, Ghazi. Love it. Okay. All right. Okay. So, more or less, that's the introduction. And these two pie charts, it's a fairly simple graph. You could, of course, have more complex graphs. So, don't overthink it. Again, just give more details. Use the question, paraphrase. That's your introduction. Now comes the overview. Okay, the overview is basically the main features. So the question asks you that. It says, what are the main features of the graph, right? So think about this as the main features. Okay, so this is the data that kind of jumps out at you. It's like, bang, there you go. Whoa, look at it. Okay, this is the, not date, but data that jumps out at you just by looking at the image and not so much the numbers. Okay. It's not always the most and the least, so stop thinking that way. That's a very simplistic way to think about it. Sometimes it is, okay? Sometimes it's the most and the least, but it's not always, so don't always think most and least. It's another very common mistake by IELTS candidates, so don't always think most and least, okay? IELTS examiners really love to see essays that have more critical thought, have more originality than just saying most and like, oh, cars were the most and then buses were the most. Yeah, I agree, but maybe there's some other important or interesting data that's there. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so when you observe these two pie charts, obviously we can see that we've got a huge slice here, cars. This pretty big slice here as well, and then we've got a really big slice here. And a big slice here. So we kind of see those in these little slices, of course. So we see the most and the least and that. What can we tell? So just by looking at these big chunks in the data, okay, by looking at these big chunks, what can we tell between these 2 years? Okay, for me, I can definitely see an interesting main feature here that kind of just jumps out upon initial observation. So what can you see here? I don't want to spoil the fun. I don't want to tell you how I would express this. I'll start the overview, but I'll let you think about that. So keep looking at that, and let me just kind of start it here. So at initial observation, and that's exactly what's going on here. It's an initial observation. It's my first observation. And I can see this here at my initial observation. And this is what we mean by interpretation. So Domenico, this is, I love how you're in Mexico doing your PhD now and bringing kind of the information that your supervisor is saying, because it's what I have been telling you this whole time, right? That you will hear this from your professor as well, where they will say, go beyond the data. You need to interpret. Right? Nat says that it's a redistribution. What do you mean, Nat, by redistribution? Can you be a little bit more specific? So don't just, I appreciate the one word, and it is a good word here, but what are you really saying? I think there's something a little bit, a more detailed concept here that you can present. Okay, Ghazi, so Ghazi says people were more interested in using a car in 2004, but they became more interested to take the bus in 2009. That's a detail, Ghazi. So that would be more in the body paragraph that's coming after the overview. What's the overview here, though? What's going on? Keep it simple. Okay? I really want you to do this because I want you to realize that it's not that hard. When you pay attention, it's not that hard. What do you see here? Okay, what do you see here? So think about it this way. I'll give you a little bit more of a hint, and then hopefully that will help you. What's changing? What's not changing? Okay, when we have passage of time, humans, right, we're most often interested in change. Change happens at different speeds. So think about it this way, right? What is changing? What is not changing? Or staying the same, right? Again, Ghazi, watch the decrease, increase. They're okay, but those words are usually best for line graphs, because increase and decrease does tend to indicate continuity. Okay, so just be careful using increase and decrease. Okay, so Anahita, you're a little bit closer now. Anahita says, walking and cycling did not change a lot while car doubled and bus also increased. Car, bus, and bicycle. You can't see that, right? But here, let me pull that up a little bit. So you can see that the number of people using cars, the number of people using the bus, and the number of people using the bicycle changed significantly over the course of this half decade, while the mode of walking and the train did not really experience a significant change, right? Would everybody agree with me on that? So walking, riding the train, not a lot of change, and they're kind of the lesser means of commute. But car, bus, and bicycle all went through significant change. Kalina says, yes, I see that. Okay. All right. So if I'm in a university class, if I'm looking at good to very good English, everybody remember, this is not just an English test. It's the academic international English language testing system used for native and non-native speakers to check your thinking and proficiency in the English language to prepare you for university classes. It's not enough to just copy some English or to use some template, especially not for those high band scores, especially not when you're going for master's, PhDs like Domenico, okay? All right, Domenico says, my supervisor is a bit nitpicky. Domenico, a bit is not actually that bad. Supervisors are often very nitpicky. That's their job, okay? They need to get you to think critically. Your supervisor will not explain or give you this information, Domenico, that I just gave you. He expects you, he or she expects you to identify this piece that I just showed you on your own without assistance. So your supervisor would say, well, you should see that at initial observation, the three most popular modes of commuting, car, bus, and bicycle, changed significantly in these two periods, or in 2009, while the two least popular methods of walking and riding the train remained relatively the same. Okay, so again, your supervisor would expect that you identify and report that. Okay, now Ghazi, do you see what I mean by the fact that cars and buses, and we go into the details of how much they change? That's more for the body paragraph here, right? So we stick that in underneath, and now we've got our overview. Okay, everybody following with me? All right. Now, I don't want to filibuster you here, meaning I don't want to suppress your English and your writing. So I want you to continue writing. Okay, continue giving details. All right. Ghazi says it is clear. Good. Ghazi, awesome. Okay. Fuan, good. Keep writing, students. Don't let me. There's more than one way to do this. So you don't have to have the exact same words or even content as me, but you should have the same system or same logic or pattern of logic to understand and interpret these graphs. Okay. All right. So now that we have our introduction and our overview, our goal is to focus on the main part, the main body paragraph, which is the analysis, okay? Okay, for the main body paragraph, you need to follow the overview. The overview is like your thesis, right? I've said this multiple times. The overview is like your thesis, so you need to follow the overview to further explain exactly what you are identifying or interpreting, okay? So let's say four to eight points of comparison and interpretation. From most to least important. This should follow your overview, as your overview is basically your thesis. For this expository essay. Okay. All right. So, what do you think? What should be number one here? So I'm going to indicate my points. What do you think should be point one? Angel, what do you think? Okay. Give me some information. Ghazi says car. We can see that car has a major shift. Okay, good. Ghazi, I agree with you. Car. Yeah. It's your point one. Okay. And then bus. Ghazi or Angel says bus next. Sure. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you don't have to overthink it. It's kind of the it's the big slices, right? It's the big ones. Okay. Third, then obviously should be bicycle, or sorry, yeah, here. Third should be bicycle. And then fourth should be walking and train, right? Okay. All right, let's do that. So it's fairly straightforward. Again, we're looking at a relatively simple graph or chart here. So the focus here is on some good reporting and good vocabulary. Okay, how many people in this university, so what proportion of this university used the car to commute in 2004? Okay. Let me hear it. Very nice. Anahita says that's roughly a half. Yeah. Anahita, you're right. It's about a half. Okay. Exactly. 51 is roughly a half. Wong says yes. Yep. And that changed. To how much? So here we have 28%. So that changed to how much? 28%. Anahita says it's a third. I would disagree with you on that, Anahita, especially if I'm emphasizing the change. Ghazi says it's a third too. I don't think so. I don't think I would report 28% as a third. For me to report a third, it would have to be at least 30%. Okay, if it reaches 30%, I would say close to a third. A third is actually 33%, right? And 28% is, in my opinion, closer to not over a fifth, Anahita. A fifth would be 20%, but you're closer. Okay, it's not 20%. Ghazi says it's a quarter. It's slightly over a quarter, right? Exactly. So it's a quarter here. In fact, it's slightly over a quarter, not 1/5. Careful, Fuang. Careful, Anahita. Fifth is 20%, right? Okay. It's slightly over a quarter. Okay. All right, let's write that and then we'll get into buses. Okay. right? So again, it's interpretation, and I'm sure Domenico understands this when Domenico is talking with the professor, that this is the kind of reporting that the professor wants to see, where in this case, we're reporting a shift from slightly over 1/2 to 3% more than a quarter, right? So that's what if you're talking about the krill in the Sea of Cortez and shifts in the krill populations, and you're presenting to an audience, I'm sure your professor will appreciate you saying, you know, we can see that there has been a major decline in krill populations from half of the total shellfish living in the sea to just a quarter within a half-decade period, right? So it's that kind of reporting. The supervisor professor doesn't want you saying 51% of shellfish were krill and then that changed to 28%. No. They want you to say half shifted to almost just a quarter, right? That's the kind of reporting that your supervisor wants to see. The audience can see the percentages on the presentation or in the board, right? Okay, so let's do that. So here we go. The analysis in more detail. Domenico says yes. Thank you, Domenico, for agreeing with me. In more detail, cars were the most popular way of getting to university in 2004, making up half. I'm not even going to say over, because that 1% is so insignificant. So making up half of all commutes. Okay. However, this proportion drastically, that would be, so half of it would be drastic. Okay. However, this proportion drastically declined by 2009 to just over a quarter at 28%. Now, if you want, you can put it in this way, okay, at 28%. Okay. All right. So this works for the car. Okay. All right. Now, bus. Big shift here. Bus is a third. Okay, we talked about this. 33%, that's pretty much exactly a third. And then bus goes up to 46% in 2009. So again, that's nearly half, right? Okay, keep writing, everybody. Ghazi, I appreciate you writing. Using a car for commuting was over half in 2004, while it decreased to just over a quarter. Use the word just there, Ghazi. Just over a quarter, 28% in 2009. You need to use a comma on both sides of 28%, okay, Ghazi? So using a car for commuting was over half in 2004, while it decreased to just over a quarter, comma, 28%, comma, in 2009. The 28% is the additive clause or descriptive, definitive clause there. Okay. Fuang says, a quick glance at the graphs reveals that in 2004, the demand for using cars to go to university was the lead means from the whole, making up 51%. Okay, Fuang, there are some mistakes there, so pay attention, listen back to the way I corrected that verbally in real time. Okay, Anahita says, upon further analysis, cars were the prevalent type of commute in 2004, while this proportion changed to just over a quarter in 2009. Okay, almost, Anahita, I'm going to grab yours because there's some nice vocabulary there we want to share with all of our viewers. So Anahita says this. Anahita says, upon further analysis, cars were the prevalent. I like that, prevalent, really nice. Now do mention the amount. Okay, so upon further analysis, cars were the prevalent type of commute in 2004, making up half of the total. Okay, comma, while this proportion changed to just over a quarter in 2009. Now it's some nice writing on it. Now you're in that band 9 category. Okay. All right. Domenico's like, it all makes sense now what Adrian was trying to teach in all these classes. Yes. Domenico, I'm so happy that you're able to use this content and be like, yeah, okay, I get it. I get why Adrian was like, no, it's not about, those little tips and tricks that you see in a lot of the IELTS videos online. There's actually an expectation, a standard, a procedure to all of this that you see in university, and IELTS is a mirror image of that expectation, right, Domenico? And same with the expository essays. You're going to see that in task 2 as well. So when you're, persuasive essays. So when you're writing a persuasive essay in university, it follows the structures that you're learning in these classes, right? I know, because that's what I did for my 5 years of university here in Victoria, at the University of Victoria. Okay, so good. Let's keep going. So buses. Yes, we talked about buses. So conversely, why am I saying conversely? Because it's opposite to cars, right? So cars became less popular as a mode of commute or going to university. Buses, on the other hand, increased in popularity. So conversely, buses made up a third of commuters in 2004, but this number increased, or this percentage increased. Comprise means the same as make up, so comprising nearly half of the university attendees in 2009 at 46%. And then watch this. This is that further interpretation. This is what your professor is looking for, Domenico. At 46%. Becoming the number one or most popular, replacing cars. Okay, right? So there's a shift there. In 2004, cars are the most popular. In 2009, bus is the most popular. Okay, maybe there are some really efficient and cheap, or maybe even free bus routes for students in 2009. We don't know that, but obviously there's a big shift. Now, here, bicycle. Hi Sarah. Hope you're doing great. I know you're in Canada too, and I know it's challenging adjusting to such a different environment, but I hope it's going well for you. I hope you're meeting lots of awesome people and having lots of fun. I bet you've been dealing with lots of stuff. You're at that part of life where relationships, education, culture, they all come barreling down on you, and you have to deal with them. Yes, but I'm sure that you're doing okay, Sarah. You're a smart, wonderful person. Okay, it's good to have you join in the class, Sarah. Okay, and I'm sure, Sarah, you will. I'm freezing in Calgary, I bet. I'm sure, Sarah, that you will also agree with me if you have been looking at graphs and charts in your university studies that your professors want you to interpret those graphs and charts, right? They don't just want you to say numbers. All right. Okay, so are you, hey, Sarah, just a quick side question, share that with us in the chat. Are you doing ballet? Are you still dancing? Are you doing ballet in Calgary? I'm curious. Anyway, let's jump back to it. So bicycle, okay. Here we have 9% of commuters, which is just under a tenth, right? Okay. And then here we have bicycle. It's 16%. What's the difference between 9 and 16? Sarah says yes. Cool, Sarah. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, sports create community. Community creates support. Support creates success, right? So even though life can be very challenging at times, it's really important to keep doing those activities that make us happy and strong, and those will always help you to succeed. Good, Sarah. I'm happy to hear that. Anahita says it's 7. There's a 7% difference. Good, Fuang. That's what I was looking for. Fuang says it's kind of like a factor of 2, right? I mean, 2 times 8, right? 8 plus 8 equals 16. And here we have 9 to 16. So almost doubling. Okay. All right. Do keep up with it, Sarah. Do go to the gym. Do keep dancing. Okay. All right. So roughly double. Very nice. This is what Angel says. Angel says, why don't you just take my sentence here and make use of it? Right, Angel? Okay, let's do it. So Angel says bicycle usage in 2004 accounted at 10%, accounted for 9% of the whole. Increasing to roughly less than a fifth in 2009. I would say doubling. Okay, so now bicycle and bus are similar, right? Because both of them are increasing. So here I would join by saying similarly. Okay, similarly. Bicycle usage also became quite a bit more popular. In 2004, it accounted for 9% of the whole, but it rose to it rose by nearly double to roughly less than a fifth. It's not really a fifth. Okay, I think the percentages become a little bit more important there, Angel. So I wouldn't say a fifth. A fifth is 20%. When you're 5% off to 15%, or 16%, I wouldn't say a fifth myself. I think that's a little misinterpretation of data. So I would say, but it rose to nearly double. Um, 16% in 2009. Okay. A little bit of a rewrite there, but it's okay. You get the idea. Okay. Angel, 15% is not a fifth. It's a sixth. Right? Okay. So a fifth is 20%, Angel. 15% is a sixth. Okay. All right. So this is my sentence here. Similarly, bicycle usage also became quite a bit more popular after half a decade. In 2004, it had accounted for 9% of the whole, but it rose by nearly double, 16% in 2009. Okay. Yeah, Angel, again, 16% is not, it's the 4% difference there is significant between 20 and 16, in my opinion. Okay. All right. Again, it depends on what kind of data you're looking at, but I think it's significant anyway. Okay, so now we have walking and trains. Okay, so walking is 4%. And here it's 6%, and train is 3% and 4%. Okay. Now here, I probably wouldn't spend in the IELTS exam, if I were sitting the official IELTS exam and I want to get a band 9, I would not spend a lot of time talking about walking and trains, because they just really don't make up much of this pie. They're not a significant portion. They don't change significantly, and I wouldn't want to spend 5 minutes writing about walking and trains, and I would rather take that time and invest it into reviewing, checking my grammar, checking my spelling, and I would even prefer to use any extra time that I have there for task 2. I would not start writing 3 or 4 sentences. So I would keep this really simple. How can you really simply kind of bundle these 2 points and describe them so that you mention them, but not spend a lot of time? Okay. I'll show you how I would do it, and then you can write as well. I'll give you a little bit of a chance. I'll write this quietly. Let's see how you compose this. Okay. I would just do it like that. Okay, let's see what Phuong has. Okay, and then I'll show you what I have here. Phuong wrote this. Phuong says, additionally, the least favored. Okay, it's a missing word there, Phuong. Additionally, the least favored transportation options were train. You don't need to emphasize, so you don't need a correlative there, Phuong. Were train and walking, ranging from 3 to 6% respectively in both years. Okay, something like that. Phuong is fine. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so simple, ranging from 3 to 6% respectively in both years. Sure. Okay, it works. For me, this is what I have here. So walking and trains were the least common way to go to this, let's be specific, this university, with a combined percentage of 7 in 2004 and 10% in 2009. Okay, that's it. That's all I would write. Just combine their percents, right? 7, combine 7%, combine 10%. They're pretty close. I wouldn't say walking was more popular than trains. It's just like 1% apart, right? Okay. Ghazi says they should convince people who are walking to ride the train to increase that percentage. We don't know that though, Ghazi, right? So Anita says, is it okay to not to add numbers for trains and buses? You could include trains and buses together. I wouldn't here myself, but you could do it that way. Sure. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we write a summary. A summary is a piece of information that can be inferred from the data without assuming, without guessing or suggesting information we don't know. Here the summary, the interesting observation that I have is the greatest change in commute happens with cars, buses, and bicycles, and most likely what we're observing is that people who chose to drive cars, or the population that's driving cars, has shifted to opting for buses and bicycles instead. So that would be my summary. Okay, so in summary, it can be inferred. This is a nice passive sentence. Okay, it can be inferred by the viewer, by the person looking at this data. So in summary, it can be inferred that the population which opted for cars in 2004 had shifted their preference to either taking the bus or riding a bicycle. In 2009. Okay, that would be the inference that we can make here. All right, everybody, let's take a look at this again. So when you're practicing at home, definitely review the question, review your essay after you're done. Okay, so IELTS Task 1 Writing. The following charts show the percentage of people commuting to a major university in Canada using several different modes of transportation in 2 years. Report the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Here we have the pie chart. Here we have the answer. These two pie charts indicate the proportions of students and teachers going to and from a large university in Canada by either walking, driving, taking the bus, bicycle, or train in the years 2004 and half a decade later, comma, in 2009. At initial observation, the three most popular modes of commuting, car, bus, and bicycle, changed significantly in 2009, while the two least popular methods of walking and riding, the train, remained relatively the same. In more detail, cars were the most popular way of getting to university in 2004, making up half of all commutes. However, this proportion drastically declined by 2009 to just over a quarter, 28%. Conversely, buses made up a third of commuters in 2004, but this percentage increased, comprising nearly half of the university attendees in 2009 and 46%, becoming the most popular, replacing cars. Similarly, bicycle usage also became quite a bit more popular after half a decade. In 2004, it accounted for 9% of the whole, but it rose by nearly double, 16%, in 2009. Walking and trains were the least common way to go to this university, with a combined percentage of 7% in 2004 and 10% in 2009. In summary, it can be inferred that the population which opted for cars in 2004 had shifted their preference to either taking the bus or riding a bicycle in 2009. Okay, looking good. Good punctuation. Students, you notice those commas that I added? Always add a comma when this part describes this part. Okay, so 2009 here describes that half decade later. So that's why you need the comma there. Okay. All right, lovely job. A couple of nice surprises. Great to have you here, Sarah, in the chat. Hey, Sarah, if you haven't tried snowboarding or skiing, those are some super fun activities that can make the cold winter a lot more fun. Or a lot funner. So I suggest those for you. I'm looking forward to hitting the slopes here on the island very soon with my kids and my parents. Should be a lot of fun. Okay, so everybody, that is this task 1, and now we will have a short break, and then we'll have task 2 coming after. Okay, so the task 2 question will be about the dangers of technology. So you can start thinking about that. And of course, in the meantime, you can also check out the websites, aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. You can purchase the premium version of our course right through YouTube, clicking products, checking out through Shopify. You get all of our task 1 videos for bar graphs, line graphs, flow charts, maps and diagrams. They're really good to have. You can use this code Imagine9 at checkout for an extra 10% off the regular price. We are here to help you succeed, not just on IELTS, but also in university. And it was great to have Domenico attest to that in the class. So you are super welcome, Fuang. I appreciate that. It's a good expression. Thanks the world. Okay, everybody. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out for now. The next class is a subscribers chat class, so be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free, and then you will join the chat. I will be here in about 45 minutes to teach you persuasive writing for task 2. Until then, see you soon.